was lawless by name and lawless by nature, trouble right from the start. Hard as nails, running well.
Well, today we are in the company of Mr. Andy Reid, well-known footballer, of course. Lots and lots of clubs: Nottingham Forest, Tottenham Hotspur, Charlton, Sunderland, currently at Sheffield United, of course, and 25, 26, 27 caps for the Republic of Ireland. And yes, we're going to talk some football, of course, but we're going to talk much, much more, because there's lots of strings to Mr. Reid's bow. Is that true, Andy?
Well, I like things outside of football, of course. Yeah. Well, I suppose maybe it's a bit of a perception that footballers don't know too much outside football.
Well, let's start. We're looking at your left arm, and it's a tattoo, but not just any tattoo. What's the fixation with Mr. Che Guevara?
Well, he's always been a hero of mine. Two heroes in particular that I've got from the past would be Che Guevara and James Connolly, who fought in the Irish Rebellion in 1916. I think the main reason why they're heroes of mine is because James Connolly was born in Scotland, born and raised in Scotland, and Che Guevara was born in Argentina, and they went to other countries to fight for other countries and to fight for their liberty and to fight for the freedom of those people when they didn't have to. And I think there's something very, very noble, and I think there's something very courageous about going somewhere and fighting for somebody's freedom when you don't have to.
Well, you know, the imagery of football, I think all imageries and perceptions are sometimes easy to get, difficult to lose, and maybe they're unfair, but it's always good to meet a footballer who has a lot to say for himself, has a lot of outside interests. And another one of yours, I'm told, is poetry. I mean, it's quite a big deal for you.
Yeah, it is. I mean, when I got into playing music and to songs, you know, I've always loved songs, and it seemed maybe a little bit of a progression from songs into poetry, and I think it's the words, and I've messed about with trying to put some music to poetry and stuff like that. So that's been a big thing. I have to say I do like Irish poets, especially like W.B. Yeats and Seamus Heaney and people like that would be among my favourites. I tell you, I'm very proud to come from Ireland and to come from such a literary country. I mean, just the writers and the poets and musicians and people that have come out of Ireland. You know, it's a really really proud thing to come from there.
Well, you've touched upon music quite a lot, so let's get into that. You're a guitarist. Hopefully, we're going to find out in a minute how good you are, but everybody tells us you're pretty good. You've had a go at the banjo in public, and you sing, and music is actually a pretty big part of your life, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's a massive part of my life. I mean, obviously football is the main focus, but you train for a couple of hours a day, and you play a game on a Saturday, and you've got a lot of time to fill outside that, and music helps me deal with that and helps me fill that time, and I really enjoy it. It is a very important part of it. As you've said, I like the guitar, and I've had a little go on the banjo, and I've done a show over in Ireland. The show was basically me learning how to play the banjo with, in my opinion, the best banjo player in the world, Jerry O'Connor. He's absolutely fantastic, and I've known him. I knew him before the show, and we got really close since. And it was a real privilege to be learning such a great instrument off such a fantastic player of it.
But where did it come from, Andy? Because obviously you've been playing football for a long time. I presume, like any other professional footballer, it started very early for you. So where and how did the music come into your life?
Well, there's always been music in my house, not necessarily being played, but there's always been music listened to in the house. There was always music on. My man's a massive fan of music. She loves Simon and Garfunkel and all the old time stuff like that. And my dad's a Leonard Cohen fan, and so we've always listened to him. My mum and dad used to take us down to see a band on Sunday mornings over in Ireland. It's not so much now, but on Sunday mornings was a kind of a thing where people would go out for a few drinks, and we used to go down and see a band who used to play a lot of folk and Irish music, and that was where I started to get into the Irish music and liking the Irish music and getting into playing it. I remember when I was playing under 16 football for Ireland, Brian Kerr was the manager and his assistant was a man called Noel O'Reilly, who has sadly passed away since, but he played guitar, and he sang, and he used to bring the guitar away on the away trips, and we used to have a sing song, and I remember watching him one night and thinking to myself, that's what I want to do. So I was talking to my mum about it, and I think it was for my 17th birthday, I think it was, she bought me a guitar.
If one of the sort of the great midfielders of football over, say, the last 20, 30 years, so I don't know, what are we talking about, Platini, something like that, walked into the room, and at the same time Robert Zimmerman, otherwise known as Bob Dylan, walked into the room, whose hand would you go and shake first?
Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
That's no reflection on your love of football, of course.
Maybe if Maradona walked into a room and Bob Dylan walked into a room, then it'd probably be different. But because Maradona, football-wise, would be probably my ultimate hero. So if they walked in, I'd probably have to shake both of their hands at the same time, I think.
I tell you what, running out at the Stadium of Light or White Hart Lane and City Ground, everywhere you've played, a lot of people watching you, probably a lot more on TV, and then sitting in a room, probably by yourself, strumming a guitar, having a song, or maybe writing some poetry. Big contrast.
Massive contrast, but it's something that I need in my life. You need to get away from it. You can't have that euphoria all the time in your life, because sometimes it becomes a little bit too much for you. You need to get away, and well, not everybody, but me personally, I need to get away, and I need to have my own time, and play my music and listen to music, and just have my own time to myself.
Yeah, downtime for you. Well, if you're happy and ready, it will be lovely to hear a tune.
Okay.
At the dark end of the street, that is where we always meet, living in the shadows where we don't belong, and darkness hide our wrong.
And when the football finishes, which, God willing, won't be for a good number of years, you're not one of these guys who are going to say, well, I've made a bit of money, so I'm just going to put my feet up and play golf for the next 30 years. You want to find other things to do, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's going to be a massively important period in my life when I do finish playing that. I don't know yet what it is I want to do, but instead of seeing it as the end of something, which it is, I want to see it as a new start, and I want to either stay in football and maybe do some coaching or managing, or maybe move off and do something completely different.
Well, it's been lovely meeting you today, Andy. Really interesting. You really do play that beautifully, and perhaps to finish our time with you today in Nottingham, perhaps you'd like to play us out with something.
Okay. Can I play something Irish, maybe?
That would be nice.
He was lawless by name and lawless by nature, trouble right from the start. Hard as nails running well through the streets, he was breaking his poor mother's heart. Nature played a trick on lawless, and the humour of nature is cruel. He grew up as we we all had expected, into a dangerous field. But he was a hard man, a man for all seasons, he was always out for a fight. He couldn't hold drink, but still he'd get blasted in Clark's every Saturday night. He'd strip to his best and challenge the best until the guards they were called to come fast. And they'd lock him away for the rest of the day and let him out on a Sunday for mass. Well, one night he went down to the rings in Brigada, where he met up with a bold lads. She wasn't exactly what you call beauty, but she was the belle of our class. A whirlwind romance, and Dolly took a flyer with Lawless, and she would settle down. It was pure coincidence, 3 months before